the map winning streak may be over, but the game winning streak continues for the LA Valiant as they just defeated the Dallas Fuel 2-1. And with that, the LA Valiant are a perfect 4-0 so far this stage. Give it up for the Valiant, guys. They're looking amazing so far. All right, so our next match of the day, we have the Shanghai Dragons going up against the San Francisco Shock. For the San Francisco Shock, we got to see their new guy, Architect, make his debut earlier this week, and they're continuing to synergize, and they will hope to continue that momentum today. And then the Shanghai Dragons, we got to see Dia back in the lineup with all the new players. So these are two teams right now that are synergizing, but it's Dragons night here today at the Blizzard Arena. So it would only be right if I asked the question to everybody here, is today the day? Will the Shanghai Dragons get that W? I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit of a believer. But let's find out right now and go ahead and send it over to the boys at the desk. Puckett, take it away.
Thank you so much, Malik. At first, I thought he had that upside down. It's on both sides. It's safe here. Shanghai Dragons, so much support in the Blizzard Arena tonight, but they're going up against some stiff competition in the San Francisco Shock. This is a matchup, though, between two teams at the bottom of the leaderboard. You got the Dragons at 0-3. You got the Shock at 1-2. And as you can see, this is a pretty close matchup. The first of two close matches we got coming your way the rest of the night. Later on, we're going to see the Dynasty versus the Gladiators, but right now we kick things off here with the Shock and the Dragons. Let's start with the Shock. 2 losses already. Tonight, they need a win if they want a chance to make it to the Stage 3 playoffs.
Absolutely. We've talked about San Francisco, how they've actually looked better this stage, especially with Dante's, Sombra, of course, but despite that, they haven't been able to get the wins as of yet. And if you want to make it to stage playoffs, I mean, you really have to start racking up those wins. And versus Shanghai Dragons, who's better?
I think the key for Shock is they were coming into this stage and they were anticipating trying to make the stage playoff standings. They had a decent run at it. The meta, in theory, should favor them as well. They've got Dante on Sombra, who is looking fantastic at the moment, and they are being able to craft their style around how he plays. But at the moment, I think they're a little too one-dimensional, and I think they've kind of underestimated how disciplined you need to be.
Yeah, because versus the Valiant here, they kept focusing on the tanks. You can see Dante hacking, Fate and Envy, or not Envy rather. It's Space now who's plays for the Valiant, of course. So they keep hacking these tanks, but they're sort of one-dimensional. They don't really pressure the DPS or the supports anyway. So you can see that Dante, he leads in hero damage, similarly to our Tracer would attack the tanks, and he gets a lot of hacks done. But despite all of these good stats from Dante, they haven't really been able to secure the wins because they can't do anything with it.
You're the best Tracer in the game, basically, right now. But that hero may not be enough. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much what I'm saying, yes. You need to be able to deal with more than the tank.
What do you want to see from him instead today?
No, I'd like to see the Sombra, but perhaps increase the pace a little bit, increase the tempo. Don't just pressure the tanks. Go deep, hit up the supports, hit up the DPS. Make it hard for the enemy to actually kill you.
All right, let's take a look at Shanghai Dragons today, and they've got a pretty thick roster now. You see 12 people on this team available to play. They've had some tough times as of late, and I want to see who are they going to be mixing in. Is it MG or is it Gaguri? Is it Dia or is it Damon? Who is going to be playing in these power positions? One of the issues we know that we've seen from the Shanghai Dragons is that they've had a language barrier, right? You got a lot of Chinese players speaking Mandarin. You have a lot of Korean players who are trying to learn English and Chinese just so they can all communicate together. For more information on the communication issue, we have to go to Zoe, though. Zoe, what's going on with the team right now? What struggles are they up against?
Well, as you just mentioned, Puckett, the Korean players are currently still learning Chinese, and they're using very basic Chinese as well as some English cues to actually communicate with their Chinese teammates. Now, Gaguri just shared on social media the other day a very funny little anecdote of something which happened during this scrim. So she wanted to ask in Chinese for healing, right? Seems pretty simple. However, she ever so slightly mispronounced something, and she kind of ended up just swearing like a sailor instead, over and over. So her Chinese teammates got a little bit confused, not really knowing what's going on and why is she so angry, what's happening here in game. Now, these little intonation errors can make a world of difference. Everyone who speaks Korean or Chinese or any similar languages knows that just a little mispronunciation can mean something completely different. So those are humps this team has to fix very, very quickly.
Thank you so much. So you got to understand the frustration there. You're yelling, Trey, Trey, Trey is the short for Tracer, and everyone backs up away from her. So the communication issues coming in to scrims. We haven't seen too many major ones on the main stage yet, but that's something I want to keep an eye on today. Is the team able to run together? Are you guys ready to meet our teams? You ready to get this second match going? I just got word they're ready backstage, so let's bring them out, starting with the San Francisco Shock. Dante in the starting lineup once again, it looks like, and we did see Sinatra at the back. Does this mean more Sombra and Tracer to kick off the day?
It should mean that, and the question mark is really, are we going to see Architect later in the day? He is known as the Genji player who came into this team and actually has a pretty big hero pool, so we could see him in the lineup today, but they're starting off with Dante, and they actually did start off with Architect last time, so we don't really know what's going on, why they're picking Dante, why they're picking Architect. It's going to be nice to see how they figure this out.
It was very weird seeing them run Architect, who was brought into the team to be this star Genji player, Widowmaker player, Pharah player, and instead they ran him on Sombra, which Dante can already play. So they're still figuring things out, I think, the Shock.
And I'm a little bit interested to see the use of the map here. Anubis will be map number 1. If it was Volskaya, it's like, oh, Sombra immediately makes sense. Are they going to be missing a Genji, or is Sombra a good hero for this
They
first
could
map?
miss a Genji on Anubis. There's a lot of high ground to utilize, a lot of good pathways if you want to pull out the Dragon Blade, but Dante's Genji is pretty decent, I guess we could say. It's okay.
It's certainly passable.
But it's not Architect.
No, and also they may be missing a Junkrat here, which is another hero that is in Architect's wheelhouse and isn't really in Dante or Sinatra's, although Dante will pick it up on occasion. So this could be a bit of an entry point.
Also want to welcome back to the stage Nomi, the main tank, super on the bench for this first game here for the San Francisco Shock. That is a look at the starting 6 for San Francisco. It's time to introduce their opponent. Please give it up for the Shanghai Dragons. It's Dragons Day here at the Blizzard Arena. So many people supporting these players.
And they're handing out flags even more support.
Winning them over. It's good to see Dia in the lineup today. There's Gaguri. Everyone excited to see her off-tank play. Dragons 0-23. You're facing a squad, though, in the bottom 4 in the league. Maybe today is the day you get your first upset.
There is some serious upset potential here. If San Francisco Shock decides to just focus the front line of Gaguri and Fearless, then maybe Ado and Dia will have enough space to actually hit up the front line of San Francisco, and maybe San Francisco will play themselves. So actually, I think this matchup, Shanghai Dragons has potential to win. I'm not predicting them. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to pull a brand.
They are still definitely the underdogs here. Much love in the arena for Gaguri as well. And I think that a lot of pressure will be on Fearless and Gaguri, as you were saying. San Francisco Shock have Nomi in the lineup. They're probably not going to play as aggressive, just try and take out those tanks. But I'm worried for Shanghai here, because even though they've got a glimmer of hope, they don't play the most disciplined style in the world. And I think if they end up being a little scrappy with their positioning, Fearless and Gaguri are going to get hacked and then taken out.
Good. Be wild. Be crazy. Get him.
Just go aggressive.
I'm looking for Dia. He was the original rock star on this team. Can he keep it going against Sinatra in the Shock? We have all 12 players ready to go. Let's send it over to our casters. We got Monty and Doa on the mic.
Thank you, Chris Puckett. That's right. Time to get things started with San Francisco Shock versus Shanghai Dragons. It is Shanghai Dragons Day. Bold of them to pick Friday the 13th for that, but you never know. I mean, maybe at this point, that's what they need. They need to harness the power of bad luck and bad vibes and turn it into their first win.
Maybe they're just hoping the bad luck and bad vibes will go over to the San Francisco Shock instead, and they can exploit it, though.
They've become a conduit to like shunt it onto the Shock. We will find out, guys. We're starting things off on Temple of Anubis, our assault map to kick things off in this 4-map series.
And one of the interesting things about the new look Shanghai Dragons has been that they have been moving towards a dive composition style, particularly on this map. It's something that they really struggled with before in the previous incarnation, running double hit scan a lot of the time. Now they have a little bit more flexibility onto the Genji. And I'm glad we're seeing Dante in here, Doa, because Dante was a big missing factor in their last match. I enjoyed that they tried to debut Architect, but I don't think there's a point to debuting Architect, as Sideshow said, if you're going to just make him be a worse Sombra player.
Well, it's like, hey, welcome to the Overwatch League. Do your best Dante impression. I don't know about that.
I just don't get it, because Sombra's a character that requires some of the highest level of communication in the game to talk about your hacks, your positioning, your EMP, your translocators.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably for the best that they continue to play. Dante?
I agree. A little bit of a May boost from Keguri to get Fearless up on the high ground. It's going to be that typical Orisa high ground defense coming in from the Shanghai Dragons. Not a big surprise there. We see many, many teams do it this way.
Yeah, this is the same style of composition we've seen from them before on Anubis. It was Damon playing the Widowmaker previously, but now with Dia back, he will be taking over with the sniper rifle.
That's right. So here we go. Time to start things off. San Francisco Shock on the attack. Shanghai Dragons defending. CU comes out on top in this match. You can imagine the odds are nearly always stacked against the Shanghai Dragons here, but today's a new day. They've got more roster additions. They've got more time to practice now. They can run in-house scrims too, which is pretty big for Shanghai.
Yeah, we're gonna see the
close one.
Dive come out here from the side of the Shock. Previously, they like to run Sombra Tracer, but when you see the May boosted defense, it's really difficult to make the Sombra work. So we're heading back towards having the verticality of the Genji to sort of knock people off that top position.
And Dia missing a couple pretty crucial shots there. I think he had a couple free and clear ones on the Mercy that didn't pan out. Addo down though, and there goes Dia. Dante finally finds him. Dante just going through, nice reflect onto Free Field, and San Francisco Shock crushing Point A so far.
And not only that, Dante nearly there at a Dragon Blade, over 75%. Otto switches over to the Genji now. If you lose that defense on the first push, you're going to lose your entire ult economy because that defense does not work very well on point B.
Yeah.
So now Shanghai Dragons in a lot of trouble.
Well, we're having to make all those big hero changes too. I mean, that gives San Francisco Shock even more momentum coming into B. Sinatra trying to capitalize on that with a kill in a free field, doesn't get it, has to back away, has a pulse bomb loaded up now. The low ground finds Fearless, they know where he is, goes in, Dante diving deep, gets both supports with the Dragon Blade, and Shanghai Dragons on the run right now. San Francisco rocking in with Sleepy on that Transcendence up. They've used both their support ultimates, Nomi, Rez. San Francisco Shock taking pretty firm control of the point here, and now it's just a matter of handling the respawns, and this may be a pretty quick point day. Five King flying in, trying to keep people alive. There's a Transcendence now from Free Field. That's gonna cover the res from Five King. They bring Otto back up again, but he's not really close to that Dragon Blade, so how much can he do the DMEC onto Kekuri right away? And Shanghai looks like they might just barely have enough to push Shock back.
Yeah, they are going to, thanks to the snipe onto Sinatra at the end. It's only Dante, Nomi, and Nevix left now. They have to back out.
I mean, what a great first push, though, for Shock. I mean, you're not going to be disappointed with that. You got 2 ticks on your very first push. You've got 5:30 in the clock yet. They are feeling pretty good.
And not only that, at the very end, you force out the Valkyrie and the Transcendence from the Dragons. Also, Dante's going to have another Dragon Blade. You're going to have both of your support ults up, and you only need to get that 1 tick. So it's definitely not the end of the world that they didn't complete the map right there. They're still heavily advantaged.
Oh, yeah. Dante. Dragon Blade coming out for Otto, though. Sleepy dropping right away. Keguri getting the finishing blow onto that one. Shanghai getting pretty aggro with the defense. But meanwhile, Sinatra back nearly caps the point on his own. Oh, man. That was almost a tad embarrassing, but lucky for Shanghai, they got back in time.
Yeah, they do double back, and the value from the Dragon Blade ends up being significant, but they still have to be careful. The death of Five King or Free Field early here could lead to a quick snowball on this second point. Dante's going to be looking to get both of them once again with the Dragon Blade.
I mean, there's so many ults for San Francisco right now. Moth is going to drop the Valkyrie right away, and here comes the Blade. Goodbye, Free Field. Chasing down Five King, finds him pretty easily. Cut him down to 2 or 3 King, I think, on that one. San Francisco Shock winning the fight pretty easy. There's the self-destruct. Quick dodge from Dante, and Keguri can't survive to get back into the mech. Sleepy right there. Just the Primal Rage standing between Shock and victory right now. And their attack run. Five King with that Valkyrie getting a little bit of healing in, but not enough to keep Fearless from getting focused, but they do res him, so somehow Shanghai grinding out a defense here.
And this is another one of those situations, Noah. We've seen this from the San Francisco Shock before. They can have huge advantages at the start of a fight, but then the communication falls apart and they cannot capitalize. Five King, though, helping out massively by coming back in with the Valkyrie on the respawn, and Fearless keeping things alive with the Primal Rage.
Well, it really is kind of bizarre watching the San Francisco team play sometime. Like you said, you know, they had everything going for them in that attack and didn't work out. Moth in a lot of trouble now. Dio with the finishing blow there. Shanghai again, aggressive on the defense. Both supports down, and they're going to push Shock back to spawn.
Another aggressive attack. I like the way the Shanghai Dragons are playing when they know the support ults are out. They're getting value off of the Dragon Blade each and every time. It is offset in terms of charge from the main fights that are happening from the point, but it's buying them more time to get everyone else's ultimate up.
I mean, not to mention the mental game that's being played right here. Pulse Bomb goes in, no kills for Dia there, but San Francisco, who's already kind of lacking a bit of coordination on some of these pushes, if you stop them outside the spawn like that, it's going to mess with their heads a little bit. Diving in again, are the Shock, Nomi's there. Has to back up, doesn't have a lot of help left, but Dante comes in, finds both supports again. It's been 3 in a row that he's done that with the Dragon Blade. Can they actually take the point this time? Auto down, Nomi does get res. And if they can just kill a few more people and hold it, that might be it. We'll see. We've said that before, though, and Shanghai's managed to hold. Five King again, up in the air. Finally chased off the point here. Free feel on the Moira, not lasting too long. There goes Otto. It's again just Five King. Kakery back on the point now in the D.Va Mech, trying to be as evasive as she can. It's going to buy time for Fearless to get back there again. Self-destruct comes in for both D.Vas, but it's still more kills for San Francisco Shock. But man, what a hold for Shanghai. They have used up so much time here.
Fearless is just keeping it alive again. Doa has that Primal Rage every time. You see the San Francisco Shock attempting to close.
Another Dragon Blade. That's his second one of the fight for Dante. San Francisco still so close to finishing this, but I mean, even if they do end it right here, Shanghai has eaten up like nearly 4 minutes off the time bank. That is pretty incredible for the defense. And Otto comes back in with his own Dragon Blade and gets 2. Sleepy gets a kill in the end. Five King trying to delay with the Lucio, but finally, San Francisco take it only with 1:30 left in the time bank, though. They started with nearly 6 minutes to take point B, though.
It was a lengthy hold, to be sure, Doha. And even though we've seen more teams, including the San Francisco Shock, start to punish the backline, one of the primary issues that we see with the Shanghai Dragons is that their tanks and supports speak different languages, and that's led to a lot of opportunities to punish them. Nearly every time Dante pulled out that Dragon Blade, he was getting both of the supports, but the rest of the team was doing a good job of actually delaying on the point, particularly Fearless with that Primal Rage. However, those are must-win scenarios if you're the San Francisco Shock.
Yeah, you got 2 points, but you're not going to be happy at all with like how long it took you, how many opportunities you had to close it out. Just weren't able to do it.
Yeah, credit to the Dragons, though. I like how they're playing more aggressively on their defense to try and stall and buy more time. But I agree with you. I think if you're the San Francisco Shock, you're probably really frustrated with how that went.
Yep. So Shanghai Dragons with a chance to attack now here on Temple of Anubis. Shock over to the defense. Looks like they're going to go for a bit of a dive defense with the Genji Tracer. Going to get a little bit aggressive on Shanghai as they try to push forward here, and setting up outside the possible Widowmaker sightlines and getting ready to maybe jump on Shanghai early.
Attackers incoming in 30
Yeah, it's interesting that they're running Dante on the Genji here instead of trying to play with Architect. So now we've seen the San Francisco Shock in the past use Dante on the Genji, but usually it's because they also want to flex onto the Sombra at certain points. Now that could still definitely happen on point B. That could still definitely be the plan. But also, you know, if you're just looking at it and you thought, hey, we might play Sombra, well, Dante is doing a great job of eliminating both supports basically every ult. So keep him on that hero and see if Shanghai's going to adapt and provide some better protection for their backline.
We'll find out right now. Five King over on the Mercy as Shanghai tries to find a position to dive in from. Here we go. On to Dante right away. They're going to try to eliminate the Genji. Gets back to his healers though. Shanghai shoved back to the spawn. Five King down. Sleepy with a big pick there, courtesy of the Zenyatta. Nomi a little bit on his own though. One tick taken by Shanghai already. So they're going to lose the fight, but I'd say still a winning push overall in that they got a tick right off the bat.
That was really interesting because we had Dia trying to back cap there, and yes, they do get a tick onto the point.
I'll take it.
But it almost looked like the Shanghai Dragons were intentionally losing that fight just to get a tick over, because Fearless lives up to his name, jumps directly into the waiting arms of the San Francisco Shock, and it almost baits them into overcommitting into that fight, and Dia gets a lot of time. He's doing it again.
I mean, there was a Discord orb onto Dante, so an easy pick for Freefield there to capitalize on the damage. Dante Rezo immediately, and he's going to pull out the Dragon Blade. Goodbye, Freefield. A little bit of revenge coming in on the Master from the student. Genji cuts down Zen, gets a couple more, and Shanghai sent packing.
And that time, Sinatra is given point duty in the back, out-dueling Dia. They don't fall for that same trick again. It's the same attack, though. It's a bit interesting. Shanghai being pretty deceptive on these engages. But they got the Dragon Blade out, and they got the Valkyrie out.
Yeah.
They're going to be working up to 6 ults here.
San Francisco still with 4 ultimates remaining. Fairly efficient defense there, and only using those 2. Here comes Shanghai again. Good amount of damage from Sleepy coming in via the Orbs of Destruction. Now Shanghai trying to, wow, nice reflect from Otto. Sleepy was not prepared for that. Goodbye, Moth. That's a bunch of kills from Otto already. Slicing and dicing his way through San Francisco Shock. That may just be point A right there.
Unfortunately for the Dragons, they used their support ults. They definitely did not need the Transcendence at the end of that fight to take the point.
Yeah.
But better safe than sorry. They do cap it out. They do force the Primal Rage.
And let's watch that one again. I mean, it began with the nice reflect on the Sleepy.
Nice, very well done.
Yeah. Moth goes for the res. Not maybe the most advisable thing. Maybe he thought the defensive matrix from Nevix would save him, but not from the Dragon Blade.
Well, the thing is, I think Nevix was too low. He was getting shot from behind because he knew there wasn't a reflect on the Genji anymore. So had he been able to get in the Genji's face, I think he could have pressured him off the res, but he got D-Mac too quickly.
And it's blade time again, this time from Dante. Sleepy down though, and they needed him to stay up. He's the one with the support ultimate. Transcendence out of the way for Shock at the moment. They're getting a couple kills though. Reveal and Otto both down on the Shanghai side. Dante getting bounced around by Fearless a bit, but that Primal Rage is gonna be pretty much rage only. Shanghai not gonna get any ticks out of that push.
Dragon Blade used on the flank, and that kills enough of the Shanghai Dragons players that everyone else must back out. Even though they do get sleepy, they are going to maintain their Transcendence as it is. Nevix actually manages to get his mech back at the end. And so San Francisco Shock sitting on both support ultimates right now. Shanghai gonna have a bit of a difficulty using this Dragon Blade from Otto. Maybe they can eco push and force it out.
Sinatra sneaking around. He's got an opportunity for killing a free field. Recalls here, wants to go back to the point instead. They've got Fearless really low right now. Pulse Bond comes in. No kills out of that free field, getting the healing he needs from his Shanghai healers right now. Transcendence now from Sleepy. Moth has that Valkyrie as well. Shock getting aggressive on the defense as they send in Nomi. Otto takes him out though, but Shock should have enough to stall this push.
They're gonna resurrect Freefield. They're gonna be coming back again pretty quickly. Fearless is gonna jump straight in and the Blade's behind him.
Yeah, that's right, get Sleepy already. Moth gets a bit of help from Nomi, who comes back just in the nick of time, and now another Blade comes in from Dante. He's gonna pull his out. Man, there have been so many Dragon Blades in this one. Just a kill onto the opposing Genji for Shock this time. But that's one tick taken by Shanghai. They're not done yet. Nomi dives in with the Primal Rage. Goes after Freefield.
Moth switching off to the Moira right now. Nomi finally dies as he's focused out on the point.
Right. Nomi out of commission for a little while here. Sinatra waiting. There's the DMAC onto Kegri. She's going to go ahead and use her self-destruct. Did they get her before she remixes again? There's the stick. No kills out of that one. But Fearless so low. Sinatra with the finishing damage. And that's going to be the Winston down for Shanghai. Gonna have a hard time pushing this one forward. No, they actually somehow, some way get the res. And now Sinatra and Nomi are down. New life for this push for Shanghai Dragons.
And they're looking good, though. Sleepy has to use the Transcendence to come back in. Now they've got the Dragon Blade. This has to be huge from Dante, but he's not close to the Zen.
No, he can't get in and make anything out of that Blade. Has to back away. Shanghai with nearly 2 ticks on the point right now. Fearless down, good kill for Nevix. They needed that one. Oh, Sinatra caught, but there's Dante right there to equalize. with the Genji. Kakari still holding strong on the point right now in the D.Va battle, but no, she's gonna get DMEC now. Has to make a run for it, and that's gonna be a nasty stagger for Shanghai as they're just gonna let her go.
Looks like they're not going to pursue her, and she will remake. No, barely at 96%.
That's like the perfect delay, actually. Is you let her be outside the mech, and then right as she's supposed to get it, or about to get it back again, that's when you get the kill and get that spawn timer going.
So throughout all of that, the Shanghai Dragons do find themselves with a large bank of ultimates. So they've got that going for them. Maybe they can get the last 2 ticks on this push. They can cover the point with a Transcendence. They put themselves in a good situation to end this map with more time in the bank.
Yeah, about 2 minutes left right now for Shanghai. They've got to get things done fast. 1:45 on the clock now. Addo with yet another Dragon Blade, dodging that self-destruct, comes back out again, but he runs right into the Transcendence. Moth stays alive for the moment. No, as soon as I said it, Caster Cursed and Fearless got that one. Now the Transcendence from the Dragons as they try to keep pushing forward here. Nomi's in that primal rage, pushing Otto out to the fight for the moment. That's going to be some good zoning, actually, from Otto, yeah, or from Fearless, or Nomi. I don't know, somebody in the game. You get the idea.
Otto still here.
Here's point B, guys.
Yeah, going to be cutting down the last members. Moth falls,
That's
and the Dragons might be able to do this. Dante has been forced onto the Doomfist.
That's 2 ticks. That may be it. They're going to send Nomi back in. He's got Sinatra, but Sinatra can't keep him healed. It's all about the delay now from Shock. How long can they keep this point alive? Evix on the D.Va should be able to do that quite a long time. Dia finds the kill on Nemoth before he really makes a difference. There's Nevix pushed out of the fray. Dante back in, jumps across the point, but dead on the Doomfist before he can accomplish anything.
Another Transcendence out now. Otto of one more Dragon Blade, and the Dragons will complete point B on Anubis.
All right, so we're going to time bank now. 1 minute for the Shanghai Dragons left. It's going to be 1:56 for San Francisco Shock, so they've got a bit more time, the time bank, than the Dragons do.
Wow, I think there's been about 30 Dragon Blade kills this game so far.
I've never
There were
seen
15
so many.
at the half.
I don't know if I've seen ever so many Dragon Blades in one game.
It's been a sloppy brawl on that second point. Both teams struggling with major advantages to close it out.
Man. Well, it was a rough time for supports on Temple of Anubis.
It has been.
Lots of blades coming at them.
It has been a horrible time for supports on Temple of Anubis.
I don't think you can actually kill Zenyatta as Genji lore-wise. It doesn't make sense. He's, Zenyatta's the one that took you in, Genji. When you were having a pretty tough time, he helped nurse you back to health. He taught you, the ways of Zen or tranquility or whatever it is Zenyatta talks about. And look at this. Here you are on this vacation to lovely Egypt, and you're just cutting apart your old master. What a jerk.
Is that actually what happens in the lore?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I have no idea.
I think I nailed it. San Francisco Shock on the defense. Shanghai with a bit less time in the time bank. And so they will attack first. Same comp as before. How quickly can they get in there? And can they get point A?
They only have a minute to do this right now, which has forced them into a dive composition. They want to win this first fight, and it's snowballed. They'll start it by killing Nomi.
Good focus on Nomi early on. We'll see if San Francisco can get the res.
They can.
Yeah, they do, okay.
Moth actually drops behind cover, and there's not enough pressure from the Dragons onto the Mercy.
Okay, so that's going to be Shanghai push back. Get the kill onto Fearless. He does get rezzed. Now just 15 seconds for Shanghai, though. They need to make a big push right here, right now. They might have the Valkyrie here, but then again, Moth probably will too.
They have to get on this point.
That's right, they got to touch it, man. 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Shanghai, they need to get there. They do. Dante down early. It's a 6v5. Rez comes in. Moth taking the risk, but it pays off. They've got Kakari D-Mech, though.
Diaz still on the point by himself. He was the first one back. Now the rest of the San Francisco Shock are falling off the high ground.
Oh, goodbye, Nomi. And now Otto pulls out the Dragon Blade. A chance for Shanghai. Dante's got his blade out as well. And he's going to get the blade-to-blade reverse blade kill. And it's still nearly one tick for Shanghai. They haven't taken anything yet here on point A. Fearless down after Otto is brought back to life by 5king. Shock just trying to pull this one out of the fire. They've got a few people coming back from spawn right now. It's just 5king Dio and Otto on the point. Kakari now joining. Freefield jets in there with the Transcendence. Sleepy gets rezzed. Full support still in action. Freefield down. Maybe Shock has a chance here. Nomi with that Primal Rage zoning people out, and they will deny the Dragons from taking a tick on point A.
So close. Dia barely getting himself onto the point at the end, but that pressure forced the rest of the San Francisco Shock back. We're going to take a look right now at a replay of Dante with the Dragon Blade.
That's right. They said Dante Dragonblade replay coming up, and I'm like, which one out of the 80 we saw? But it was the last one coming in, taking down members of Shanghai that he needed to secure that one. Dante, of course, has shown, I think, probably more improvement in the Overwatch League since it began than nearly any other player.
He's definitely in the category, as you could argue, for him being most improved. In fact, I think I would.
I think so, yeah.
He has been, he's come quite a long way.
I mean, from a player that honestly struggled with some pretty basic positioning things when Overwatch League began to now being this really good Tracer, very good Sombra, now showing us some great play on the Genji too. Like, Dante is really kind of developing into a bit of a star here.
And speaking of Dante, 16 Dragon Blade eliminations so far in this match, 14 for Otto, so they're neck and neck. Now we are finally up to 30. I think I could confidently say we have never had another match in Overwatch League that has had so many Dragon Blade kills.
I'm gonna have nightmares about this one. Not gonna lie. Here we go, San Francisco looking to win map number 1. All they need is a single tick on point A to take the map and get the lead in the series.
So they also will be playing Dive versus Dive one more time.
Yep.
Tracer Genjis have been on fire so far. Sinatra is going to come back and tap the point, forcing Dia to engage him.
Well, that's the thing. You gotta try to pull Shanghai back from that choke, and Sinatra's one of the better Tracers at sneaking back there and doing just that. Shanghai retreating a bit as San Francisco takes that high ground positioning. Are we trying to stay safe? They've got Shanghai shoved off the ledge there.
Yeah, they knew Sinatra was trying to blink all the way around the backside to get onto the high ground.
Yeah.
So they push the members of San Francisco Shock back in the meantime while he's trying to reposition.
Nomi and Dante on the right side right now, being really annoying. And now Sinatra finds the kill onto Fearless. That was big. He tried to bring a little counter aggression, but San Francisco's ready for him. Goodbye, Dia. Sinatra gets 2 kills already in this fray. I think the res may be coming in. No, not quite. That's going to be the Valkyrie from Moth as they push in to try to finish this map. Shanghai trying to keep it alive, but Dante now with the Dragonblade. Reveal. There's Reflect comes in. Sinatra picks up that kill, waiting out that self-destruct. Nice kill onto Kakari as she tries to get back in the mech again. But now it's Otto's turn with the blade. Of course, it's been about 5 seconds. Bring out the Dragonblade. Kakari gets res. 5king's going to help her get back into the mech again. And Shanghai, they are going to push San Francisco back.
At a pretty deep price though, Freefield over onto the Moira now. They had to use the Dragon Blade. It comes down to Sleepy. Needs to stay alive long enough to get the Transcendence. Nomi has the Primal Rage to jump in onto the point. Fearless about to match him.
Now Sleepy's nearly got that Transcendence. 99% right here. They're going for him. He pops it just as he gets it. Moth down though. They got to get to the point. We're into OT. Nomi pops a Primal Rage just as he was about to fall. Otto down. Sinatra with a big kill there. Looking for more. Gonna go after Freefield on that Moira. You gotta be careful as the Symmetra, or as the Symmetra, as a Tracer going into that. Freefield Fearless will pick up a couple kills, but Nomi's right back again with Kakari taken out of the fight. Shock is not done yet, and now Shanghai Dragons falling all over point A. This might be it. They've nearly got it, and it will be. San Francisco Shock takes the first map.
Barely though. It was so incredibly close.
It really was, man.
And what a bloodbath. 79 deaths for the Shanghai Dragons, 68 for the San Francisco Shock. This has been an incredibly back and forth assault map so far.
Kidding, wow. Friday the 13th, certainly unlucky for support so far today, but we'll see what the next map has for us. Shanghai Dragons so close, but yet so far. Let's see if they can pick it up on map 2.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, guys, to the Overwatch League. Man, that was a very, very close game number 1 on Temple of Anubis. Shanghai Dragons this close to drawing it the draw, but San Francisco pulling it out in the end.
Yeah, and that was a map that we haven't seen the Shanghai Dragons win.
Yeah.
So they came awfully close on that one. Could have been a little bit different, and they could have walked away. They are a combined 0-20 on our first 3 maps that they're playing, but they've done better on Junkertown, picking up a couple wins there. So we'll see how they do as the match progresses.
I mean, if we look at the stats too, Junkertown is the only win in this map pool that Shanghai has a win on now. So it's going to be a better chance later. Now, let's talk about subs. Architect coming in for Sinatra on the San Francisco side.
And who knows what we're going to see, Doa. Last time I thought it meant Genji. It, in fact, meant a lot of Sombra and a little bit of Genji.
Well, we're going on to Nimbani, so that's going to be an interesting map, especially with how Shock have been running that recently.
Yeah, they have. And we may not see the Sombra, but if we take a look at how they play so well around the Sombra, and you'll see Nevix is going to knock all the members of the Gladiators onto the low ground right here, and then set up against this wall to take advantage of the Moira healing. But most critically, watch what Dante does. You can see his translocator flying in the middle of your screen, and this gives him 2 choices, to either follow it back to the Moira, or to try and get a hack onto Fisher here if Asher isn't going to pressure him. We could roll the rest of the replay now, see that he gets a hack on. That's when everyone is going to collapse. Dante then has an opportunity after Asher recalls to use that translocator, and is just about cleaning up the fight after that. Dante translocates again to the high ground, gets the hack on Asher. So you can see how intelligent this attack in particular is from the San Francisco Shock, and they may mimic this strategy one more time.
Yeah, a really clever way to kind of bait Asher out of a position too, and kind of leave him with no blinks and no recall, just kind of watching the fight happening.
Yeah, either way, the point is that Dante's hacking one of those tanks because somebody has to walk up. They don't have high ground control anymore because Nevix spoops them off. So really good way to play with sight lines and the shorter range composition that you have with a Sombra, Tracer, and Moira. And honestly, San Francisco's been one of the best teams at actually playing and executing this composition.
You know, the way that Dante has been playing Sombra more recently reminds me a little bit about how Rascal kind of plays Sombra, where you use that translocator as a positional tool. A lot of Sombras use it to sort of poke and then get back to safety, but Rascal and now kind of Dante uses it to take better positions in a fight, not necessarily just flee after doing a bit of damage. And as you go forward, where the health packs don't give you ult charge anymore, I think that's going to be kind of like the way to play Sombra going here on out.
I definitely agree. The best Sombra players use the translocator as a mind game.
Right. Here we go. San Francisco on the attack one more time. No Sombra this time, though. Dante and the Tracer. Architect will be playing the Pharah.
So going for the projectile play that Architect is renowned for. Saw a little bit of his Genji, a lot of the Sombra, none of the Pharah up until this point, and they're starting to take over this high ground. They had a good idea that the Soldier Tracer composition was going to be coming through on the Shanghai defense.
We've seen it from before, so not a big shock there. Gregory just trying to claim the high ground for the moment, trying to hold it, but that's already 2 ticks for San Francisco. Shock, Dragon just bullied off the point, diving back in now, but Architect still yet untouched. Nevix dead, so maybe Shanghai can win this 6v5, but the zoning from Architect has just been crazy. That's so much progress on the point already from San Francisco. Architect getting closer and closer to that barrage as well. Takes advantage of the Winston bubble, has to back away now. Still getting shot at a bit by Dia. And they're gonna push San Francisco back, but man, that was 2 ticks pretty much for free.
Yeah, and the way you play against these Soldier compositions, if you have a Pharah or if you have the Sombra, is similar. Remove the Soldier from the high ground, force them back into this corridor, and then make them re-engage on the point. Gregory makes the big play, though, to take out Nevix, which allows them to get a player up and then continue their advantage. But the slow push is so hard to retake, and you still give up a lot of control percent.
Oh, Gregory, nice dive onto Architect, finds him. Sleepy gets res, but San Francisco, without that crucial DPS tool in the Pharah, gonna have to probably back off for the moment. Just a little bit of poking, losing Moth. Now Dante has to go.
Gregory really doing a great job of selecting targets here. She's already been part of 4 eliminations, 3 final blows, only after 2 fights, but those kills that have started off, the picks that have started off these engagements are the big ones for the Dragons. And it's allowed them to build up a strong ult economy because they haven't had to use ults to get kills.
Very true. And that's a good amount of ults for Shanghai Dragons here on the defense. San Francisco pretty close to a lot themselves as well. And I think we might see a bit more focus on Gregory here as the next push comes in, just to try to keep Architect a bit safer. Nomi tries to jump in, gets moved back up again, and now Dia gonna pop that tac visor. You can see Architect immediately dropping out. Oh, but Dante comes in from behind, takes down the ulting Soldier. That could be pretty useful. Self-destruct now for Nomi. Gregory gets demeched, gonna go and use her own ultimate as well.
Architect holding onto this barrage just in case they re-engage. Gets 1 hit onto Fearless and trying to zone everyone else right now. Sleepy is deep.
Yep, that's right, but Fearless a little bit deeper here, and he's not gonna be able to save this point. The payload will start moving, and Shanghai's lost quite a bit of people. This is gonna be a stagger that's gonna give San Francisco a pretty good start here on point B.
Yes, it will. Payload already moving, and seems like Architect might be heading back into the spawn to give a hero change right now. Is going to barrage in spawn and then change over.
Oh yeah, you don't wanna waste that ultimate or anything like that. Let's go ahead and use it. Just press that Q. It feels good, man. Back on the Genji now is Architect. As we move into stage 2 or point 2 rather, and you can see already that they've gotten quite a bit of distance on the payload just because of those late kills in the fight. Oh, Freefield gets 1 clip by Dante. Nice sneaky Tracer move. The res comes in anyway, but right as Fearless dies to Architect. So there's still gonna be down 1 person here as Shock pushes in.
However, that's still just getting them so much room, Doa.
Oh yeah.
In the end, Dante Gonna be trying for a flank on the high ground, looking for another support to open up this fight.
A 5 King pops the Valkyrie right away, but Dia can't be kept alive. Freefield down as well. That Mercy ultimate not getting him a whole lot. Primal Rage now for Fearless, but he's got no health left. Oh no, he didn't even have Primal Rage. Thought I heard the sound cue, but that wasn't it. That's gonna be point B taken by Shock. They did not get slowed down at all.
No, they did not, and they're coming up on some other crucial ultimates. Architect, after that one push on the Genji, nearly has the Dragon Blade. Fearless and Geguri gonna have to do some work to buy time for Freefield to get that Transcendence.
Shanghai looking a little bit scattered here on the defense after losing point A. See if Architect can add to the Dragon Blade kills we've seen today already. There's been quite a few of them. Taking a lot of damage, though. He needs to be careful trying to go in with Nomi. A little bit of an awkward dive. Nomi pops that Primal Rage. Architect just has no health right now. He can't get too aggressive. There's the healing now. Coming in to sleep, he pops the Transcendence. Still waiting to pull that Dragon Blade, though. They may not need it. They're not going to get it in a little while. K3 gets the kill onto him with the self-destruct, and as Moth falls, that's going to be Shanghai finally stopping that payload.
Nomi and Dante went so deep to try and kill Freefield, but Dia is doing a better job. It's easier now that he's on the Soldier to protect the supports of the Shanghai Dragons. So that was a really big mission back where Diaz is right now.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like you get ready for the dive, and then they happen to do like 50% damage to Architect. And he's like, "Oh, sorry, man, I can't dive in with you. Too risky."
Yeah, the tanks did a good job of stalling out the payload during that entire sequence.
Yep.
Dia, a little more cognizant about where he needs to be. They're going in again, though.
Well, they chase him down. That dive worked out a bit better. Oh! I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Architect. I shouldn't have said anything. What a pick from Freefield there.
I mean, you have to expect that, though.
I mean, you're walking down a narrow hallway towards the Zenyatta. What do you think is going to happen?
I think he got a bit desperate because he only got the single kill.
Yeah.
And so tried for the Hail Mary play, but that's not a play you're going to be able to make very often.
Pretty much.
You're basically asking for the Zenyatta to make an error, and that was not what Freefield was going to do today.
You kind of are, yeah. Here we go. Shanghai defending again as Shock pushes in. Getting close to that Transcendence one more time. Dia's got that tactical visor, though. Architect taking a lot of damage. Pops the Reflect. Sleepy already down. Dia K3 self-destruct. There goes Dante and Moth, too. So Shanghai is taking Shock into that side room and finishing everybody off.
I mean, you knew that was going to be an eco push if you're the San Francisco Shock, though. The only thing you're trying to do there is bait out these ultimates because that's not a really winnable fight. Architect wants to play on the McCree now. Trying to slow down potentially Otto's Tracer in the back lines. And San Francisco Shock is going way too deep on these dives. They were having success killing Freefield early, but the Shanghai Dragons are doing a much better job. They have adapted to the way you're playing, so you can't do that anymore.
Well, that Pulse Bomb entered the void via Nevix's defensive matrix. Shock pushing forward to its Transcendence time. Meanwhile, Dia pops that Tac Visor. Shock having to fall back here. They've got ultimates to try to buoy up their health a little bit here, but Architect finds the kill into Freefield. Shanghai backing away. The dive not needed if McCree just finds the shots. K3 demeched. Taken out. The payload is moving.
Payload is moving and Nomi is following up. He wants to force them back into spawn, get them into choke points. Otto is deep behind enemy lines. Architect is currently looking for him, but he can't find him. He's on the high ground. He wants the high noon, but he knows Otto is back here somewhere.
There's the high noon. Oh, he gets 5 King caught out in the open, going between the doorways, and that's a big one. Mercy out of the way. Self-destruct comes in, catches K3 as she gets demeched as well. Shock nearly has it. They get it there. Oh, Fearless couldn't reach the payload in time, and that was just before overtime started.
Dia couldn't quite make it to the payload either, trying to sprint in at the end, so it will be, with 4.8 seconds remaining, a 3-point capture for the San Francisco Shock.
Shanghai made them work for it on point C, but it was all Shock before then. But, you know, it's really similar to what we saw in Temple of Anubis, too. I mean, things go smoothly until you get to the very end, and then Shock really kind of shows these coordination issues that just sort of seem to emerge when they get close to finishing attack round.
Well, I wish I could say that these problems are new for the San Francisco Shock, but they're not. Even when they find themselves in advantageous situations, they have trouble closing and pushing their edge.
Yeah.
However, on the side of the Dragons, the Ultimate Economy looked a lot better towards the end of that defense. They were maintaining quite a few advantages, and we've seen some pretty long holds from them so far in this match.
I think it's encouraging to see that the synergy between the players and new additions is already kind of starting to happen. And yeah, we know there's that language barrier and everything, but the language of Overwatch is universal, Monty. There's basic things that everybody kind of knows to do, sort of like second nature if you're at this pro level. And I think Shanghai, honestly, showing some pretty rapid improvement.
Yeah, and a lot of the communication issues that occur can be solved relatively quickly when it comes to team fights. What's the real challenge is trying to adapt strategy on the fly, which if you think that Shanghai is, I think, getting better, and you start to see them fix some of their mistakes or team fight more cohesively, that's where I think enemy teams really want to start rapidly switching up their team compositions against them, because it's going to take them so much longer at this juncture to adapt and communicate with each other about what the optimal way to play is.
Shanghai Dragons on the attack. Shock going for the defense with Architect on the far again. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, they're assuming that there's going to be another dive, which they are absolutely correct about.
Yep. Dia on the point early to put a little bit of pressure on. Fearless with the dive. Putting some pressure of his own onto Nevix. They're going to chase down Five King. Okay, nice reverse from Nomi to chase down that vulnerable support. Dante gets free feel. One tick taken, though, by Shanghai. So they have gotten some progress on the point despite losing both supports. Free feel's finally going to go down. Sleepy gets him with the bio grenade, but yeah, I think as Shanghai Dragons, you could be pretty happy with the tick out of that. Ooh, that was a dangerous moment. If you lose Architect, suddenly you're looking at a 6v5, and that's not great.
Maybe overplaying his hand, but the support's falling again first for the Shanghai Dragons. Nomi and Dante tag teaming to pick up the kills onto the Mercy and the Zenyatta. Now they're still just trying to control space here using the rockets, as most of the Dragons members are coming through the main choke point. Dia already there, putting pressure on the point.
6v5, Dante down early. Architect's gonna need to have a pretty sick barrage here for them to defend this one. Goes ahead and uses it, turns around as he saw the D.Va flying in, but Shanghai just wrecking this fight right now. That's the reset. Goodbye.
Dante died on the high ground opposite the point, and that meant Nomi had no backup. Fearless takes 2 kills quickly. And that means Architect goes over to the Genji 4-point B. Time Shanghai coming in at multiple angles and abusing the positioning of the Shock.
Yep. Ults on both sides here. Architect over on the Genji now. He's not gonna have his play for a while yet. Yeah, hunting him down. Here comes the blade. Ado pulls it out. Sleepy down early. Good start for Shanghai. Gonna cut Nevix out of his mech here. Mob down courtesy of Fearless, so Shanghai winning a pretty decisive fight to begin things with. They've still got to deal with Nomi here on the payload. It hasn't started moving, but now it's going to start going.
They win that fight because they cut down the Ana. The Ana, luckily for the Shock, gets the nano boost off, so at least there's some level of punishment. Sleepy, having used that ult, is going to switch over to the Zenyatta right now.
Oh, Dante finds Free Feel in the back. He was waiting, and as Free Feel came out of spawn, got the assassination.
It's been happening a lot, though.
Yes, it has. Oh, double kill from Kakery onto Architect and Sleepy. That self-destruct coming up big. Sleepy gets res. Valkyrie getting popped by Five King in the meantime. And it's a brawl near the end of point B. Nice stick on the Nevix. That's going to get the D-Mech. Gonna pop that self-destruct to get his mech back quickly. And Shock turning this fight around a little bit. Nomi diving in, and he's got the support. Moth and Sleepy still there.
I like the aggressive use of the self-destruct. Yeah. That is one of the points in Overwatch that is the easiest to get self-destruct kills in, because there's nowhere for these low mobility supports to hide. If you throw it in that doorway while they're trying to defend on B, you can play more aggressively than normal by using your self-destruct and still pick up some big kills. So great decision, and they're gonna fight back off of their respawns and take this point.
I mean, that's the thing, you know, Shanghai, the surviving members just fell back, regrouped, and came back really strong. Nevix out of the mech now. They're gonna get Nomi as well. That's gonna be point B. And what's impressive about Shanghai right now is how they're responding to losing fights, right? They're not going crazy. They're not trying to push things that they can't really handle on this map. they're doing what they just did. They're falling back and regrouping really well.
And they're staggering Architect to get even more distance from the payload. He's one of the only ults up for the Shock right now. Shanghai Dragon's not going to have to deal with that for a few more seconds while they continue to grow their distance. And they still have 4 minutes to end here on Numbani.
Nearly 6 ultimates for Shanghai as well. Leah behind the enemy team. Fiveking gonna use the Valkyrie. Moth getting close to his. Otto gets Architect again. And now the blade comes out. Nice slash on the Moth. Transcendence out, but the Mercy already down. It's only a matter of time until Otto cuts the rest of San Francisco Shock apart. And that's exactly what they'll do. And look at that. Still 4 ults remaining for the Dragons.
And Nevix chooses not to use the self-destruct. They say their last stand is going to come here. Primal Rage trying to stop them from getting out of the spawn.
Moth swatted flat by Fearless here. Shanghai still on the point in a big way. Nomi nearly down. Otto gets a finishing blow, and they're going to try to push the payload. Nevix the only one there. Now Dante goes in to try to delay it, but that's going to be Shanghai with a very good time here on Numbani.
Yeah, what a roll from Shanghai. Through points B and C, accruing a massive ult advantage and then decisively and deliberately using it. You can see there's not any kind of communication issues when it comes to how to sequence their ultimates. They save all 4 for that final push.
Let's go back and check out that self-destruct from Kakari one more time. The one that I believe got the double kill. And like you mentioned, Monty, it's one of those points too where you're going to get more kills from the self-destruct. There we go.
This is definitely one of the best places in the game to use this self-destruct. I mean, there's...
Oh, and Nomi's Winston bubble was just outside
shy
of the self-destruct. Yeah, tried to cover it, missed it barely, and it's a good kill, or a good couple kills for Kakari. 4 minutes and 4 seconds on the clock for Shanghai Dragons. They are in a fantastic position to take this map.
Yeah, they are. And if we take a look at some of Kakari's stats, she's 27 limbs, 11 final blows, and only 6 deaths right now. So certainly standing out in this match.
Well, we knew she would be an upgrade for Shanghai in the off-tank department. We didn't know how big of an upgrade that would be based on performance in Korea and with other teams and other tournaments and things over the last year or so, but so far so good for Kakari. Here we go. Shanghai Dragons on the defense. San Francisco Shock with just about a minute in the clock, and Dante back on the Sombra.
So now we might see what we looked at before the game. So take a look here, hack on the health back going to come through, and here's the initial poke. It's a speed boost into the corner, but it's going to be a dive comp this time.
Interesting, yeah, they're just going aggressive right onto Shanghai, drawing them down on the low ground. Sleepy taken out early, though they lose both supports, and Dante gonna have to back off. Go invisible, oh, but they catch him. Fearless was so ready, he knew exactly where that translocator would be. Gets out anyway. Meanwhile, Nomi's still brawling it out on the point here, but Shanghai will hold.
Architect and Dante still alive. This composition does not work as well when you don't have a soldier to push off, because you can't contain the mobility and the verticality of the Genji. So it's way harder to run this comp unless you get a quick hack.
5 seconds for San Francisco. They need to get on the point in a hurry here. Architect and Dante trying to
Otto's
get the block going. They will. There goes Otto. Yeah, the hack turns into a kill. Moth down to Kakari. Ran him over with the Diva mech. They get Fearless. Kills on both sides. It's a brawl right now. Nomi forced back. Can he get close to the Primal Rage? I don't think so. Transcendence from Freefield. That could be the ticket for Shanghai. I think it just may be. Overtime ticking away, only Architect to deal with now. Moth running back in, but on his own, Alucio's not going to do much, and it's just Sleepy on the point right now. That is it. Shanghai will hold, and they have 4 minutes to take just a tick and win this map.
Looking really good for Shanghai. That was absolutely the right call, I think. Moving away from the soldier back into the dive, and the change in strategy from the San Francisco Shock to what we've seen them do previously is just not going to be anywhere as effective. Yeah. Even though they got the hack onto Otto to start things off, the kills roll through at that low range for the Shanghai Dragons.
So now, the Dragons put themselves in a great spot to win a map that they have not yet won in the Overwatch League. Came in 0-6 on Numbani. They have got all the time in the world really to make that 1-6. 4 minutes and 4 seconds on the clock, and like we mentioned, only needing to take that first tick, just the first third of that control meter to win the map and tie up this series.
And if I'm the Shanghai Dragons, I think my call right now is just go for a 6-ult push.
Yeah.
You have enough time, and that's honestly what's been working for you so far against the San Francisco Shock, is by meticulously building up a big ult advantage.
Yeah. This is the point where you don't let the nerves affect you. You know, you don't get desperate. You've got time. You've got tons of time, in fact. Play it safe, build up the ult economy, and then use it to crush that point. Here we go. Shanghai Dragons on their way to try to win Numbani. San Francisco Shock needs to mount a desperate defense if they want to go up 2-0 in this series.
Here it comes. Fearless going to be scouting out, trying to take the high ground right now. Combination with Dia.
He's protecting his supports with that Winston bubble for the moment. Now the chase comes in on him off. Moth zoned out for the rest of the team. Could be back, gets to the health pack, but it's not going to be enough. Gets taken down by Dia, and Shanghai already nearly has that first tick. They are crushing this fight. Who needs ultimates if you get picks like that? It's just Architect. He gets the kill, he pushes them back, and just when you think Shanghai's going to get it, it's the DPS. It's Architect and Dante who save San Francisco.
Architect and Dante intercepted the supports of Shanghai in the upper corridor. They were out of line of sight of everyone else on the Dragons, and those 2 kills come up big for the Shock. So they hold for now, but there's still 3 minutes left.
Yeah. I mean, Fearless and Otto, you know, had a good dive onto Moth, but yeah, you kind of leave your supports exposed when you make a move like that. Got to be aware of what the other team's DPS can do. Back on the point is Dia. Ultimate's coming up pretty soon for some of these teams. All spot, misses. Dia doesn't get the stick, but Otto gets the kill. Now Otto, so close to that Dragon Blade. They're going to wait out Architect, so he gets to go to Breveal. They've got a lot of problems for the Mercy there. Well, Architect so low. Five King pops a Valkyrie, goes aggressive, gets the kill onto the Genji, and gets back to the point to get the heal. What a move by Five King. Here comes the res. Gonna bring Kakari back again, gets back into the mech. Fearless down though. Five King trying to sustain, but Shock back on the point again.
And that res onto Nevix may have turned things around. Both of the Divas coming back out. Otto chased down and eliminated, and just barely the Shock managed to stabilize.
You know, and the rough thing now for the Shanghai Dragons is that they used both of their support ultimates during that fight, and now you've got under 2 minutes left, and the other team is the one with all the ultimates.
Yeah, you still have time, though. I mean, Freefield swapping over to Lucio, and then now back to the Zenyatta. So I'll have time to build up another Transcendence, though. Just have to be, again, deliberate as you push this.
Right. Back on the point again are the Dragons. Nomi trying to zone out Freefield in the back of the fight. He's got him pretty low already. Meanwhile, Otto pops Nevix out of the Diva mech. There's the self-destruct coming in. Back to the health pack. Oh man, Five King and Kakari both get caught by the self-destruct. Disaster for the Shanghai Dragons. Another fight won by Shock.
The supports are getting left behind on the low ground by the Shanghai Dragons.
Definitely.
It's been Nomi and Dante punishing them time and time again. Primal Rage was popped just to make sure the self-destruct was going to get a couple of kills. Five King was trying to swoop in and save his teammates, but pushed back into the bomb from the Diva.
Yeah, you have to find a way to make this push work while keeping your support safe. Freefield's been kind of left out to dry on a lot of these moves here. Architect takes a lot of damage. The Dragon Blade comes in, Architect down. Otto with just 25 health left though, needs to get back to his healers, gets the healing from the Transcendence in the end. And now can they win the 6v5? Kakari demech by Dante's Pulse Bomb though, and there goes Moth. Mercy down on the side of San Francisco. Nevix demech. Shanghai so close. They've nearly got it. Dante dealt with. Nomi and Architect, the only ones left for San Francisco. Nomi back on the point. Here comes the delay, and here comes the blade from Architect, but it's not going to be enough, and Shanghai will take Numbani.
And that'll be their first win on Numbani in the Overwatch League. Perhaps starting to turn things around here. They will tie it up heading into the half.
You know, when they put themselves in the position to do it with that great attack run, finishing with a lot of time on the clock, and then it went down to the wire, but they made it work, and we are all tied up. San Francisco Shock with the Shanghai Dragons. Halftime coming up. Don't miss the rest of this series, guys. We'll see you in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. We're live from the Blizzard Arena, and that sight behind us, it's a scene you've only seen 9 times before today. The 10th map win came from the Shanghai Dragons, and they get it against the San Francisco Shock in a very tough matchup on Numbani. Welcome back, everybody. It's Puckett here with the halftime show. We got Sideshow, we've got Reinforced, and fellas, you're quite festive here on the desk today.
I'd say there's no bias here. No bias at all.
No bias.
No.
It's Shanghai Day here in the venue.
It's been a close game so far.
No bias at all. Now, game number 1, I thought we were going to end in a draw. Let's go back to Anubis and talk about some of the early plays. When you're watching Shanghai take the points, it was often behind Otto's Genji.
I mean, this was Blade City, all of Anubis, because Dante and Ado, they went back and forth. We had these long stalls on the point, on point B, and these Blades just came out clutch time and time again.
They really did. Shanghai Dragons are formed out of a lot of players that have potential. Nobody on their roster, even the Korean players that they drafted, have won championships before. None of them are star talents, but a lot of them have potential to become stars. And Ado is the first one that we have really seen reach some of that potential. His Genji has looked on point.
Yeah, because when we think about players like Giguri or Fearless, we can see that they do some mistakes in their play, and we see that they have improvements that can be made in the future, and that's why we hype them up. There's potential here. Ado really has stepped up his game, and these Dragon Blades are the key to getting these map wins.
It's often 2-3 down. Let's talk about why it was the San Francisco Shock, though, walking away with the win on Anubis. What was the difference maker as we went into the time bank rounds?
Seriously, it just came about the stall, in my opinion. I think it could have gone either way. The way the teams were looking, it was very even throughout. So I think it could have gone Shanghai Dragons' way very close, but it came down to Shock in the end.
Let's go to the map that had everybody in this venue cheering. We went to Numbani for game number 2, and the Dragons looking so strong in this second map. Talk me through some of the early moments. What were we seeing from these squads?
So they started out, and the Shanghai Dragons were playing into Architect's Farah, and they had a little bit of a defense. They were actually putting up a reasonable performance, but then Shock got rolling, and it came down to the C defense. And that's where Ado, again, with these big Dragon Blades came out, and they managed to hold San Francisco Shock on C to a really strong degree. They ticked it down so there was only a couple of seconds left on the clock, and at this point, I'm thinking, boy, they wish they could get those extra 4.8 seconds out, because if Shanghai are able to cap with over a minute left, that would put them in a great position to win.
Fearless could have stepped onto that point, but instead, San Francisco got 4.9 seconds. But in the end, I mean, you have 4 minutes in the time bank.
Yeah.
If you don't get a... It was close, though.
It was so
Oh, it
close.
was close.
Oh, man, I was sweating. I was sweating, and it's not because I'm just draped in flags and caps and all sorts. I was sweating because the Shanghai Dragons were doing their own little version of the San Francisco Shock, where you give yourself 4 minutes just to take one tick and you throw it away. But luckily, they were just able to get it at the end there. Again, Ado coming out big. Dia had a good performance. Fearless as well.
Phil got a kill on...
They really have all
something.
started to make it mesh together. And you got to say that San Francisco Shock have opened the door. I feel like some of their players are underperforming. They haven't quite got it together. They don't know how to deal with it. But this really could be the day that we see Shanghai get a win.
I can't take you seriously with this hat on.
Why? I look great.
You do look fantastic right now. Johnny, you look extra strong in your schmedium over there. So let's get the official predictions for the second half, because we're tied up one apiece. We got Ilios, we got Junkertown, which we never know what we're going to see. Johnny, where does this go?
You can't... It's San Francisco, man. You can't do... It's my job to be right, and I have to go with San Francisco.
Someone should tell Bren you're supposed to be right on this guy.
I don't know. Someone should tell Johnny you got the previous match wrong. There's still hope, guys. There's still hope, Shanghai.
Are they gonna win?
Johnny,
Unfortunately, I'm here to kill it as well. I think San Francisco Shock in the halftime, they're going to be able to figure out what was going wrong.
It just makes the upset even better.
It does. You can be glad that we're wrong, maybe.
I feel like you don't deserve this hat anymore. That belongs to me. Shanghai is going to win this thing. And guys, that's going to do it for halftime. But make sure to tune into our show tomorrow. We got Twitch Day here in the Blizzard Arena, and lots of cool stuff coming your way. And just so you know, we got two familiar faces, Dado as well as Harblue, the two Twitch partners, will be in the house. So you don't want to miss that. Shanghai, it's all tied up, 1-1. We got the second half. Make some noise, Blizzard Arena. We'll be right back with Game 3 on Ilios.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are all tied up in this matchup between the Shanghai Dragons and the San Francisco Shock. 1-1, and it's a playoff-like atmosphere in here. This crowd is so hyped as it looks like it could possibly happen. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm a little bit starstruck. As you can see, I'm joined by May herself. We all know May's Bay. This cosplay is actually perfect, and this is actually Tutu. She's part of our Chinese broadcast team, and she's actually going to lend her energy to the Shanghai fans here, so I'm gonna hand the mic to her and let her do her thing.
Hello everyone, I'm Tutu. I'm the Chinese host of Overwatch League. I'm the Shanghai Dragons super fans. Today is Shanghai Dragons Team's Day, so I cosplay May. So can we cheer up them together? Can we? Follow me, follow me, follow me.
Got a little wave going there, all right. I like that action. Well, as you can see, the Shanghai Dragon fans are ready for this W. So let's see if they can pull it off and get right back into the action with our casters, Monty and Doa.
Thank you, Malik and Tutu. Man, that was sick May cosplay. We have to do some Overwatch cosplay sometime.
Someday,
We
Doa.
should.
Someday.
Do you guys want to see me and Monty do some Overwatch cosplay at some point? I think they
No,
do.
they
There's
don't.
like a couple of people out there. Maybe not.
I'm
It's
glad
okay.
I'm not on the hook for that.
I
now,
can
Doa.
only do Soldier because we have the same hairline. Here comes Sinatra coming in on Ilios for Dante. So still no super, but as San Francisco Shock tweeted a bit ago, apparently feeling a bit under the weather, unfortunately.
Yeah, Architect will be staying in on the controlled map with Sinatra, and I think this is honestly a huge problem for the San Francisco Shock. Since Super's debut, their shot calling has looked a lot better. It has entirely regressed today, and with the Shanghai Dragons getting stronger game by game, you can't really afford to be in this situation. So Shanghai, I think that they won a map they've never won before. We're heading into Junkertown, which they've looked decent on in the past.
It's one of their best maps,
Yeah,
easily. Yeah.
it's one of their best maps. So this is really has all the makings of an upset here for the Shanghai Dragons if they can continue playing at the level we saw earlier.
Certainly could. 0-7 on Anubis. They nearly win that. Extremely close. 0-6 on Nimbani. They win that map. Now we're back to 0-7 on Ilios. So see if they can get their first win on that map as well.
But the thing is, Numbani was a map that the Shock had done well on. They were 4-2 coming in. They had a winning record, and Ilios hasn't been a good map for the Shock overall. And you're sitting right now at 4-6, so under 50%. And the Shanghai Dragons definitely have the tools now to make an upset happen here on Well, which is going to be our first point.
Yes, they do. Ignore the cruise ship. It's not time to relax. It's time to fight. It's time to fight to try to take the lead in this series. San Francisco Shock versus Shanghai Dragons. Here on Well, we'll see who takes round one.
And I agree with the Dragons. Just play dive. It's been what's working for you. Otto's had some huge Dragon Blades. Architect back onto the Pharah now for Well.
Okay, it's a good map for Well, or if it's a good map for Pharah, rather.
Especially when you aren't anticipating the dive.
Yep. Picks up on the high ground. Shock has a pharmacy as well, raining some rockets down from on high. Shanghai Dragons taking refuge in the room with the health pack here, now trying to push out onto Shock. Nevix in a little bit of trouble, gets the mech taken away from him. Five King with the boot kill on that one. Otto down though, Architect finds the kill on the Genji. So the brawl going one way, but now Architect bringing it back for the San Francisco Shock.
Architect gets both DPS on the Shanghai Dragons, and now there's not really anyone to contest him. He is just going to free fire into the Dragons. Eventually, they'll be able to mop this up.
Yeah, that's right. A free rocket for free feel, and Shock is going to get their control percent going quickly.
So Dio with Sinatra at the end. Both teams will be at full strength at approximately the same time after respawns. Otto now goes over to the Pharah, so it will be an aerial battle. We have a Mercy, though, on the side of the San Francisco Shock, so you're going to have to see Otto be careful about getting hit by those air-to-air rockets.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can certainly run the Pharah without the Mercy, but if the other one has the Mercy, that air-to-air becomes much more difficult. Shanghai nearly flips the point right there. Shock back in time to try to defend it. The air-to-airs have to be perfect. Otto taking a shot early on, and without a Mercy there to heal him, he has to back away. Fearless with an early kill on Nemoth, though, so San Francisco without one of their supports.
And this is what you do. You just zone him out with these rockets right now.
Yep.
He cannot engage.
You try. Oh, Sleepy gets run over by Kakery. Couldn't get the res. Oh, he did get the res on Nomi just in time. But they lose the Mercy, so Shanghai still pushing forward here. Now the Primal Rage for Nomi, and there's the sound barrier as well for San Francisco Shock, dedicating a lot to try to hold this one. Architect with the barrage, some damage onto Fearless, but not a lot. That's a nice knockoff from Nomi at the end of that ultimate. Free Feel sent flying, and Shock looks like they might be able to hold here. Yeah, they will for the moment.
Yeah, Nomi may have gone a little bit too far. He has to use his leap to get back out. His teammates are there to try and save him. Sinatra picks off Dia, and that'll be a late stagger. So it's been all San Francisco so far.
Yeah, I don't know about this this Pharah without the Mercy. Now Free Feel makes the swap. Yeah, I think you absolutely need to do that. It's just too easy for Architect to zone him out otherwise. That's what we've been seeing, and it's not surprising.
Yeah, you just float over and take that battle. Not a problem at all.
Pretty much. And Nevix sends a self-destruct up. That's gonna catch the Pharmacy. Oh, it was so close. Nearly got them, but Nevix taken down by Dia before he gets the mech back. I thought he had the Pharmacy for sure on the Shanghai side.
Dia makes the critical play, punishes the self-destruct, and picks up Moth on the support. So Shanghai Dragons flip the point and start building up right before the Shock hit 99.
You know, if you're Shocked though, you're not too worried about this, and Sinatra with a kill on the Fearless, that helps out, because you've got some ults coming up. You've got plenty of time to get the fight that you want to take and try to take this point back again.
Yeah, especially you can't make that mistake right now if you're Fearless, because he wasn't in a place where he could have been resurrected, and now you have to give up a ton of ground.
Five King eats a rocket. Otto, though, takes a shot from Architect as he tries to get the barrage. Kills Nomi, but that's it. Sleepy reses him almost immediately. Nice kill on a free field from Sinatra. And Shanghai having a little bit of trouble holding on to this one. Hot bit of trouble.
Kakery here, but she's going to get demacked and punished immediately. Nice tracking from Sinatra. Five King is hanging out on the side. They don't know he's there. He's going to touch the point to trigger overtime.
That's good zoning from Nomi, too, to keep Kakery out of the fight. Five King down. Overtime ticking away. Fearless gets back just in time. They're being zoned out, but Dia able to keep the overtime bar filled until the rest of his team gets there, but now they come in. They need to win a big fight here, but the sound barrier already there for San Francisco Shock. Kakery has to back away, and Architect raining the barrage out, turns away from the Diva at the last minute, but can't stay alive. Kakery with the kill there, but they're gonna need a lot more. Sleepy comes in with a res on Architect almost immediately, and now Nevix firing that Bunny Blaster. Oh, he gets Five King. No, now, yeah, he gets him with the self-destruct.
Even through the sound barrier shield, enough damage there.
Big double kill from that Dia Pulse Bomb, though, and this is getting a little bit crazy on the point here. Shock struggling to win this fight.
That's a 3 versus 4 in favor of Shanghai. They're gonna flip this one back.
I think they just might. Yep, that's right. Flipping it now. Sinatra trying to hold it for as long as he can. He's buying time, but the point eventually not flipping yet. Shanghai might get back there. Fearless down. Sleepy gets a res on to Sinatra. Shock not done. They nearly lost it, but Sinatra kept the point alive. Heroic play from that Tracer right now. Shanghai scrambling yet again. Free Field backs out of the fight right now. Diallo gets the health pack just in time. Sinatra on the point. We're still waiting for OT to tick away. And now here comes Fearless with the Primal Rage one more time. Kakery sans mech though. Five King down, and it just seems like Shanghai is slowly losing control here. The res comes in. This is one of the longest fights I think I've seen on Well ever. And Otto, barrage for a barrage. And Architect coming out way bigger on that one. Yet another sound barrier from Moth. And the self-destruct zoning Shanghai back into the corner where Shock can handle them pretty effectively. That's gonna be point A going for Shock.
And nearly flipped there. Had that flipped at the beginning for Shanghai, we may have been headed into 99-99 territory.
Oh yeah.
But thanks to Sinatra and the resurrection that happened for him, courtesy of Moth, and makes the difference. And the Shock hold on to take well.
I mean, that was just some really sick stuff from Sinatra at the end there. I mean, Shanghai all but had that point flipped, and Sinatra just straight up said, hey, I'm not going to let you have this one.
A lot of credit to Architect, too, who was so incredibly dominant on the Pharah in that round.
Yep. Yeah, Otto kind of looked like he was put in a position that he was not very comfortable with on that Pharah. Didn't work out. Now we see how the Widow battle goes between these two teams. Architect on the Widowmaker for Shock. Dia on the Sniper for the Dragons.
Typical Tracer, Widowmaker, Ruins. It will be the Dragons who trying to get to the point faster. They are on the low ground right now, and Architect will snag Dia.
Yeah, he has been winning a lot of these 1v1 DPS battles no matter what hero it's been so far today.
Five King was so far away because the Dragons were pushed forward that they have to wait for the respawn now. Maybe they can make a play onto the point before it casts it. It looks like they're opting out.
Gotta be patient. Dia switching off of the Widowmaker onto the Sombra, actually, opting to not take that 1v1. They're gonna go for the EMPs instead. Interesting.
Here's Dia. He's coming around the flank right now. Wants to get something done, but can't get the hack off. Has to translocate.
Sinatraa trying to go for that one clip there. He was behind enemy lines for a little bit. Now rejoining his team. Shanghai contesting. Sinatraa still looking for the support kills in the back of the fight. Lucky though, getting some healing. Support's taking care of each other. Now Dia doing a bit of body blocking, trying to zone Sinatraa out.
Oh,
He's
he's
so
so
low.
low.
And Nomi though drops in the back lines, and Shanghai comes out ahead in a couple of these kills. The res comes in from Moth onto Nomi, but Shanghai gets the point flipped in the meantime.
Sinatra's still dead, so Geguri gets demeched and destroyed. Nomi and Sleepy there trying to pick up some of these last kills. With the Mercy gone, they're gonna have a lot of issues. No healers now.
I mean, it was a really nice hack on Anevix to set that kill up for Dia. Shanghai, good job of holding this one. Shaka's not taking it back just yet. Dia waiting for that EMP. Oh, he finds it, but Sleepy's ready! He revealed himself with a melee, and Sleepy just turned around and capped him, and that's gonna be Shanghai scrambling to just hold on to this one. Sinatraa with the res, nice blocking with the Transcendence healing to make that one go through onto Sinatraa.
Well, that's going to be an EMP to Shanghai Dragons. Really want back, dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they built up for that. They needed it to be big, and it ended up being useless. Refield down. Shock still hasn't flipped the point, though, but they might get it soon. No, the bar going back. They need to get on the point to keep this going. Nevix on his own. I mean, again, it just doesn't seem like the support for Shock is there in terms of keeping these tanks alive.
Finally, they're going to get it. Architect
There we go.
stands right on the edge of the pit. It's only Dia remaining, and he will fall. Point flips, but 64% for the Dragons.
I mean, that was about as good of a hold as you could ask for if you're the
It was
Dragons.
a really good stagger.
Yeah, considering on how that defensive fight started with that EMP not getting a whole lot for them, that's pretty incredible that they managed to hold it for that long.
In for sight up for Architect. Does fall away now, so he has to play a bit behind the rest of his team. Can't take those aggressive peaks any longer. Fearless gonna jump in though, alongside Otto, but Sinatraa again finds a support in the back line, and Nomi will snag the other.
Yeah, both supports getting taken down here. Shock, though, coming out ahead in the fight in a big way. Geguri paying for that dive. She got Sleepy, but got taken out right afterwards.
Fearless and Otto were looking for the Widowmaker in the back line, but unless you can actually find a Mercy as well, it's just not worth it to dive this deep. Your supports are unprotected, and even if you are successful, the Widowmaker is just going to get rezzed.
Dude, Sinatra's putting on a show today. I mean, he's kind of showing us why we were so excited about this guy turning 18 for so long, and he's in the league now, and man, putting on a pretty incredible Tracer performance on Ruins.
Architect having a quietly good performance on the Widow. He's only died once so far on either point of Ilios.
Shanghai coming in. They need to flip the point back again, otherwise this map is over. Pulse Bomb comes in, doesn't get the kill in free field, but it does zone him a little bit. Aha! Is that a translocator I see? Oh! Problems for Dia! Sinatraa spots it. Transcendence now for Sleepy. Shock winning this fight in a big way, but there goes Nevix. Geguri gets back into the mech. Still has a lot of HP left on that one, but now getting chased down. There goes Fearless Five King on his own without anyone to keep him alive here on the point. Just being annoying with the wall rides. Geguri comes in, but again, just on her own. Now they're trying to delay for the rest of Shanghai to come back again. San Francisco flips the point. They've nearly got it. We're into overtime. Dia down. And that may just be no. Shanghai back on the point again. Geguri gets demeched immediately, though. Freefield comes in with the Transcendence. Couldn't keep the Diva mech alive, though. And Shock still getting the kills. It's been a grind, but they've been coming out ahead just a bit in every single one of these fights. And yeah, with Architect untouched, covering the spawn, that's going to be Shock getting the 2-0 on Ilios.
Still a chance, though, for the Shanghai Dragons to come back here on Junkertown, one of their best maps, and send it to that Game 5. Shock, though, recollecting themselves. Architect having his best map so far since his debut. 30 elims, 19 final blows, but a single death.
Yeah, Sinatraa having a pretty awesome map there too. Shock in position to win it all. Shanghai in position to tie it. Let's see what happens on Junkertown when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Let's get it. We got a packed house here in the Blizzard Arena.
Oh! It's time. Oh! Soon takes him out. Gamzu gonna go primal raid. Hobie comes in.
4K, more hydration.
And now Jester can go to town.
Libero getting all the kills right now. It's crunch time.
They need to be ready to bring out the A game.
They've got such incredible talent in this roster, and they are not holding back.
Oh, here we go. Who would have thought this would be so close? No way. Yes, it's happening. All the good stuff.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League, everybody. San Francisco Shock has retaken the lead in this series with a dominant win on Ilios, but we are going to Junkertown, and that's going to be a map that Shanghai has had pretty good results on in the past.
Yeah, they have, at least by their standards.
Well, I mean, for them, yeah. They're 2-4 on the map. 2-5, my bad. Dante in for Symmetra, meanwhile, as far as the subs go. But yeah, 2-5 on Junkertown for Shanghai.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do here. They've run some interesting compositions in the past. I'm curious with this current group of players what they're going to look for Sometimes they have run some defenses without on Orisa, instead relying on D.Va and Roadhog in tandem as the main tanks, and trying to play a 2-2-2 composition, but without a traditional tank, barrier tank that you have there, which I think is very reliant on communication around the Zen Orb, because you have to have mobility and try and focus down someone really quickly for that to be effective.
Did I actually say Dante in for Symmetra earlier?
You did.
I did say that, didn't I? All right, well, there's just no other way. There's no other way we're getting Symmetra in the league. I'm sorry,
Exactly.
I'm doing what I can.
You might as well just delete the Symmetra from your brain.
I'm doing what I can.
It's just not going to happen.
It's me and Muma trying our best, right? But there's only so much Symmetra we can bring to the Overwatch League, you know?
And it's only the ghost of Symmetra, never the actual Symmetra.
That is true, yep. That's right. Was she really here? No, she wasn't. That was Sinatra, actually.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do, because we've seen Baby Bay play this map before. Architect will be the Widow here, and Dante will be playing probably the Junkrat on this defense, but maybe he's not actually going to, or the attack rather. They are not going to use that Mei. They are not the Seoul Dynasty, but they'll go back to Genji Widow, which is what they played with Baby Bay on previous attempts at the attack.
Watch out, there might be ticks in that bush, Otto. Make sure you check everything after you exit the bush.
Are there ticks in Australia? I don't know.
Probably, I don't know. There's got to be some sort of biting insect that lives in bushes.
Oh, there are tons of biting insects that live in bushes in Australia, though. I'm just not sure they're ticks. I think there are things you have to worry about much more than ticks.
Perhaps. All right, now, Shanghai Dragons have to worry about San Francisco Shock on the attack here. If they win this map, the series is over. Dragons need to come up big if they want to go to that tiebreaker.
And they are going to be running a defense now with the D.Va and the Roadhog. So their primary tank on the Roadhog, and this is really reliant on these hooks, and they're not going to kill Nevis thanks to the barrier dropped.
Yep, that's right. Also thanks to that damage reduction too. On the take a breather. Nomi, though, not so lucky. Taken out by Shanghai early, and they are going to shove Shock nearly back to spawn.
Well, they punished Nomi for walking forward, and Dia gets a handful for himself. Architect and Sleepy falling. Nevix gonna be delayed here as well.
It's a pretty sick start for Shanghai Dragons. Let's watch that one again. Dia, let's watch this guy go to work here.
Close range sniping, and there's Sleepy. Great shot, and there's another one.
Man, popping off here on the Widowmaker. San Francisco Shock back in action again, but Shanghai's made a lot of progress towards a lot of ultimates now.
This composition is more durable when it comes to avoiding those hulks, because you're spread out so much, and you don't have to stand behind a barrier because you don't have one.
Mortal Kombat!
Could be the duel here just at the machine gun mode.
Close range Widowmaker battle, but Otto the one who interrupts it with the kill onto Architect. Dia sneaking around the side, getting to the back lines. Might be dangerous here. It's gonna be whole hog actually from Nevix. Pushing the Dragons back a bit. Nice shot on that mob. Whoa. Dia ready for that one.
Dia is just taking over this defense. Freefeel uses his Transcendence when his team doesn't need it, though, as they could have cleaned that up without him. Nevix is going to get hooked and staggered yet again at the end of that attack. So far, the Dragons have drained 2 minutes off the Shock.
I mean, this has been a great hold for the Dragons. Even if Shock managed to take point A at this point, with the amount of ults they're coming into this fight with, you'd think they will. This is time that they're not going to have then when we go into point C finally, which is where you really need as many minutes on the clock as you can get.
Indeed, and Freefeel also using that Transcendence makes it so much more difficult to deal with Dante's Dragon Blade. And the Infrasight out right now, and here comes Dante. Goodbye, Mercy. And he's gonna get hooked, though.
A nice hook, 5 King down, but Kakery gets 2 with the self-destruct. And just when you think it's gonna turn around, the Dragons manage to win the fight, and now only the Transcendence left for Shock. They used nearly everything on that push.
They were so spread out, the Shanghai Dragons. A great heads-up play from Fearless to deal with the Dragon Blade, but that self-destruct, you can see that they're coming all in right now. Sleepy's not in a position to get out of the way, and Architect caught in the self-destruct blast as well.
Yeah, I think there was some confusion as far as where that ended up. Another hook onto Dante from Fearless, gets the kill there. Otto drops in from behind with the pulse bomb, doesn't get the stick though onto Nomi. And now Kakari out of commission. So the Shanghai Dragons in a little bit of trouble here. They've held for a long time, but Point A starting to go the Shock way at the moment. Although with the whole hog, maybe he can turn it around. Nope.
He'll just be taken out at the end there. They did force Dia onto the high ground. Quick snipe though from Architect. Otto and Freefield are still alive on this flank, and Kakari's coming back to protect them.
Now Freefield down. Dante down as well. Kakari delaying a little bit, but she's going to get DMAX, and that should be Point A. 5King coming in for the delay again, but this may just lead to Shanghai getting really staggered on B.
Couple quick melees onto Otto, seal the deal.
Yeah.
And now they're playing really far forward. Dia, you see the ducking and weaving there from the Widowmakers. It does look ridiculous when she does that.
I've never seen so many like close range Widow battles before. It's like you're supposed to be farther away than like 2 feet in front of each other.
She's just so tall and thin that when she crouches so quickly, it looks so strange.
No human being moves like that. I don't know, man. She's been through some scientific experiments, I know, but I think it mostly affected her skin color, not the crouching. But who knows? In Overwatch, anything's possible. Kakari out of the mech already. Shanghai Dragons struggling here on Point B to get any semblance of defense going.
And they didn't swap it up, but Fearless just going ahead and flanking the backline by himself on this Roadhog. He will fall quickly, gets punished for that.
Yeah, Shanghai took a lot of time on Point A, but now giving up a lot of time on Point B. 5King reses Freefield, so they're not done just yet. The payload is still moving, though.
They need to switch off this D.Va and Roadhog combo for Point B. They can't maintain this because Fearless, in order to get anything done, had to make a long flank. Sure, he gets a kill, but they just collapse onto him instantly, and that's it. The res comes through, and you're not going to be doing anything else here. This Widowmaker can free fire onto you because they have the barrier and you don't.
Yeah. Oh, they tried to fight a little bit at the end here. And now Shanghai getting pushed back even more. 2:30 on the clock here. Shanghai needs to calm down. They need to regroup here. They've got the ability to stop this push, but they need some semblance of stability, and they're giving Architect way too many lines of fire here.
And Otto will get revived, but Resurrection on cooldown now for the Shanghai Dragons. They can't afford to lose anyone else to Architect.
And Dion the Tracer. Architect trying to find those shots, gets surrounded. Otto gets him with the dash. Now the Transcendence comes in for both sides here. Nomi caught with the self-destruct. Nevic's going to use that whole hog to shove Shanghai back. The payload stopped for now, but it will begin moving again.
It keeps on moving, Doa, because they don't have a big enough tank to actually stop this, and they get staggered one by one by one.
Got barely stopped here. Shanghai not done just yet, trying to pile on to the payload just to buy time. They're finally starting to come up with some kills. Architect not quite hitting the shots at the moment, and he's gonna have to flee.
Yeah, it's time to go. This is where some compositional changes, I think, need to come through for both of these teams.
Yep.
There you go, Nomi now on to the Winston, and the D.Va will be piloted by Nevix.
So Architect, yeah, there's a swap under the Sombra. I was gonna say, you know, maybe you pop in for sight, give everybody quick glimpse of where everyone is, and then swap, but I think going over the Sombra is probably the smarter idea right now.
Yeah, there's still time to get the EMP, but they have to deal with the Dragon Blade first.
Oh dear. Otto taking that fight single-handedly almost. 1 minute remaining for Shock, and they've still got quite a ways to go on Point C.
And even though the Shock changed and reset their tank ult economy, we're not seeing the same thing from the Dragons. Fearless really just trying to put this match into his own hands, say, I'm going to land these hooks, I'm going to get us the player advantage, and I'm going to be the one who helps us to win this game.
That's right, doesn't land that hook. Has to back away. Oh, he gets hacked, he's in trouble now. Gets to the health pack just in time. Can he get the E off? He needs to go and use that breather. He gets it just in time, and his team falling around him. There's Nomi getting pulled in, the whole hog not accomplishing anything. Great fight for Shock, and they have got the pressure on now.
Well, the thing is, Doa, how do you deal with the hack if you just have the D.Va and the Roadhog? They become giant ult batteries to be farmed.
Pretty much.
They're not very useful when they don't have abilities.
Very true. Shock nearly has it there. Overtime, though, about to commence. Shanghai gets aggressive. 5King uses that Valkyrie to try to push back. Both Mercies ulting here. Sleepy pops that Transcendence as he dives towards the payload to avoid dying to that self-destruct. There's the hack now. Shanghai in a lot of trouble, but Otto pulls out the Dragon Blade. He can turn this one around against Nomi. There's the D-Mech on the Nevix. Otto trying to stop it on his own right here, right now. The res comes in onto Nomi, though somehow Moth managed to make it work. Shanghai has that respawn advantage, though. They just need a couple kills. Moth in again onto Dante, getting the healing. It's just the supports in Dante, though. They gotta hold until Tank comes back, and they can't do it. Shanghai gets the stop on point C.
It looked like such a good EMP, but if you don't get the Genji and then you all in, it's a playground for Otto instead. So they get it nearly to the end of the map, but the San Francisco Shock can't quite get it there. Nailbiter on point A. They were quite nearly full held.
Otto's playground is not a place I think I want to be if
There's been a lot
I'm on the other team. That's
a lot of slicing and dicing in Otto's playground.
No kidding. That is like running with scissors to the extreme right there.
Except Otto's the one who runs with the scissors and then gets all the kills on other people.
He runs at you with the scissors, which is even worse. We're getting into real horror movie territory here. It was a horror show for San Francisco Shock as they couldn't finish point C. Now Shanghai, if they can do what they've done twice so far on this map, they can win it, force a game 5. Think about how they can take it on Oasis.
This is where we see San Francisco typically switch Dante over to the Junkrat and Sleepy under the Roadhog.
Yeah.
As you can see on your screen right now, and the Shanghai Dragons.
No, you watch your step. Don't tell me what to do, Ledge.
They do run the Orisa here, so a little bit of a switch for Shanghai. Sometimes it's been Geguri playing the Orisa on their attacks on Junkertown, but this time they may just decide to go with
what is this?
the Roadhog and the Diva once again.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure, everybody wants to beat New York, but I think you got to think about beating Shanghai right now. I mean, if you can't do that, New York might just be out of reach. Here we go. Shanghai Dragons on the attack. A chance to send us to a tiebreaker game 5 if they can just push the payload most of the way through the route here on Junkertown. We're going to see that Oasis map.
Yeah, same composition for the Dragons, despite the fact that they normally do not play this on the attack. They play it on the defense. Dante gets Otto early, and as he tries to round a corner, they can't resurrect that. Fearless wants to get the hook onto him, but Dante is not going to show his face. You just see the grenades there coming in from the high ground.
Payload moving. They need to stay on the payload to keep it moving, of course.
Yeah, but this is in a challengeable position for the Shock. They're going to wait till it goes through this choke point and start fishing for halts and hooks. Dia, this is a risky flank, but if he gets off, it's going to be worth it.
Definitely worth it. Architect low too. Now the pressure comes in, but he did what he needed to do. Got the kill. Now the pressure comes in from Dante, though. That Junkrat, nothing to mess with. The kill onto Mercy, though, the big story there. Dragons really opening themselves up to take point A fast.
Wow, there was nobody watching that angle. You have to have a DPS. Normally, it's the Junkrat's job to cover that choke point. That's where they got the kill. Dante got the kill earlier onto Otto after the first push. But because they didn't actually stop the payload after Otto died, it's going to be a really quick point A. 5 minutes now for the Dragons. So now we're going to take a look here how they're going to adjust for point B. Dia goes down, but it's not going to matter. He'll spawn right next to the payload.
A lot of momentum coming in for Shanghai Dragons. 5 minutes on the clock. Ult's coming up right now. Infrastrike used by used by Architect. So Shanghai does need to play it a bit more carefully than usual here for a minute. So.
They're just trying to cycle onto the payload right now as best they can. Riptire hunting for some supports.
Comes a tire, gets the D-Mech onto Kaguri.
Yeah, they'll definitely take that D-Mech. That D-Mech is fine. Now it's only the Roadhog who can really move the payload, so they have to wait for the remech before they can do anything.
Otto trying to harass here, but Shock has point B on lockdown for the moment here. Nice kill on a free field from Architect. And they establish that high ground defense. And that's something crucially that the Shanghai Dragons weren't able to do when they lost point A in their defensive round. Shock kind of having everybody dying at the same time gives you the advantage of getting that opportunity to get that solid defense going.
I'm gonna take a look at Architect, couple of shots here. Making it look pretty easy at the end. Free field res doesn't save them as Keguri goes down. There are a lot of ults, 6 ults right now for the Shanghai Dragons. Dia just used the Infra site. They have to make this work.
That's right, they gotta get aggressive now. Otto sneaking around the back here. Finds Architect, has to back away though. Otto gets Architect with the pulse bomb anyway. It's a 6v5. Shanghai moving forward here. Moth pops the Valkyrie right away. Trying to get back to Otto for the Architect rather for the res, gets it. Fearless taking a lot of damage, pops that whole hog, pushing him back, but Dante right there with a concussion mine. Shock holding for now, but they lose Nevix.
I can just back off though. The thing is, they are the ones who are entrenched on the payload. They have the Orisa barrier. Keguri getting low, finally gets healed up by 5 King.
Oh, goodbye Sleepy though. Otto finds another kill in the back lines. Dia wins the duel with Architect. Shock losing some crucial members of their team, but here comes a Riptire. Could turn things
needs
around.
to be big. Gets one on the free field.
All right, Nomi gets res though. The tank back in action on the San Francisco side.
Nevix and Nomi standing behind the barrier.
Yep, I think you just popped yourself the start right here. We'll see if Keguri does it. Yep, goes ahead and drops it. Now they want to force that point B. Manages to get the kill on Nomi with the Bunny Blaster, but now the Transcendence comes in on the Shock side. Where's the res? I think it might still be on cooldown for Shock after bringing Nomi back the first time. Dia down, so Shock finding the kills either way. Keguri has to run for it. They were so close.
I mean, that 6 ult push didn't work. Finally, Fearless moves to the Winston. I think you have to have a different plan. The issue is, if there are all these Riptires coming in on the side of the Shock, and you can regularly demech Keguri, then you just have a Roadhog to push the payload. You have such a hard time unless Dia kills Architect on the Widowmaker, preventing him from covering that card.
So they will make some swaps. Fearless over on the Winston now.
This is going to be much better for them. That was a long time on a composition that I think is inefficient in a big way on point B.
Yeah. Otto on the Genji. Shock dealing with the new incoming members. Oh, Dia gets a kill on Nomi actually. Good start for Shanghai Dragons. Keguri deals with the Supercharger. Oh, but they lose Fearless though, and they need more. They need way more.
And they're going to get way more, Doa. Dante is going to fall to Dia. They came back in order to protect their Mercy during the resurrection of Fearless.
That's right. Oh, Keguri taken out. Wasn't in the mech. Freefield, some damage. Now the pressure comes in on Architect, but Nomi stomps Freefield for the kill. Architect just grapples back to safety. Shock running circles around Shanghai here, but they've lost Sleepy now. Up at 5 King in response. There goes Fearless. Every time Shanghai Dragons gets an edge and a couple picks, Shock responds immediately, and now less than a minute left for Shanghai.
And Dante could do serious damage with a Riptire. That puts them in desperation territory because the Shanghai Dragons are going to have one push before they have to just fling themselves onto the payload in overtime.
Yeah, and good luck using that desperation when there's a Riptire coming the other way. It's going to be so tough. They have to find a way to deal with Dante.
Yeah, if this Mercy dies, I think it's pretty much over for Shanghai.
I think so too. Here we go, Dante putting himself in position, waiting. Here comes a Riptire, Moth and Nevix. Down though, there goes Nomi. This Riptire's gotta be big. They get Otto. I think they might have needed a bit more. Yeah, that's not enough. That's gonna be point B, Architect. Can't quite stall it. Shanghai pulls it out at the very last second.
The Mercy kill goes over to Fearless in the Primal Rage instead, cutting Moth off from the remainder of the team. And the Riptire was just too late there. The Mercy proactively, 5 King proactively uses the Valkyrie to get off the ground and make herself much more maneuverable to avoid the Riptire.
Right. And here we go. The final stretch for Shanghai to try to tie this series. Send us to that tiebreaker on Oasis. They've got a minute to do it. Shock, a few ultimates coming up for them. Otto trying to build towards that Dragon Blade. Big pick on the Moth there for Shanghai. They're gonna push Shock back. Oh, there goes Sleepy.
That's massive, Doa, but there's nobody pushing the payload, so it looks good for the Shanghai Dragons, but they're not gonna win themselves that much time.
Well, they won the fight, but yeah, now the payload gets moving and Shock has time to respawn.
Now they're gonna have time to respawn, and they're gonna get a couple more fights here as a result of that payload not moving. That's not gonna be an effective pulse bomb. Can't find a target in the spawn.
Not at all. Architect over on the Genji now, getting low, getting taken out. Fearless with the kill there, but there goes 5king. Shanghai loses their Mercy, and that's the go button for San Francisco, and they're gonna win this fight without needing to use a lot of ultimates. Just using that Valkyrie, but they still have the Primal Rage. They still have the Pulse Bomb. They grind out Fearless, and now less than 10 seconds remaining. Shanghai losing everybody just when they were about to get the payload there. Can anyone even get their auto down? Overtime ticks, but who is going to return? Only 5king and Freefield nearby after Kakari gets eliminated. There's the self-destruct, the Winston bubble there in position. The res comes in, but 5king can't get it. Auto brought back just in time though, but here's the Transcendence from San Francisco. There's the kills they need. They lose Architect, but can Shanghai get more people back on the payload in time? Overtime expiring. Oh, it was so close. Fearless down. There goes Kakari, and there goes the match. San Francisco Shock will take it 3-1.
Oh, it looked dicey at the end, but San Francisco is going to pull it out. Man. Very close on that last push from the Shanghai Dragons. Nearly sent us into overtime, but the San Francisco defense shuts them down at the end.
I mean, it was so close on Anubis. It was so close on Junkertown. That, you know, that could have been a very different series. Either way, Shanghai certainly showing us some improvement, but it's San Francisco Shock fighting through a bit of adversity today to try to get that win.
As Shanghai, we knew this team was going to get better. They're starting to communicate in Chinese. They're starting to get on the same page, and you're beginning to see the fruits of that labor.
Yep, that's right. You know, we've said it before, too. I think if you're a Shanghai fan, you have a lot to look forward to. But if you're a San Francisco Shock fan, today you can celebrate over another win. We're going to send it down to Zoe on the floor for a bit of an interview.
I do indeed have a bit of an interview going on with no other than Sinatra. Please give it up for this young man joining me here for a quick chat. Now, we haven't been able to talk to you yet in Stage 3, as you only just recently were eligible to play on stage. So how has it been like for you so far?
At the beginning, it was pretty nerve-wracking, I guess. Like, I wasn't really prepared. So the first 2 matches were pretty, like, shaky for me, but it's been getting better for me. Like, I'm not nervous at all anymore.
All right, well, that's great to hear. Now, the first few stages you had to watch from the bench. How involved have you still been with the team at that time?
I was going to scrims every day, basically, like, player coaching, I guess. So I would, like, look at individuals and see what we're doing wrong and then try to, like, help them like work with the team better.
All right, well, perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to see you on this stage finally, as a lot of people have been basically waiting to see you right there. So thanks a lot. We're now heading over to Puckett and the guys to break down the action.
Thank you so much, Zoe. So this is the second big win for the Shock in Stage 3, but a much tighter match than we expected, going up against the squad at the very bottom of the leaderboard. And I want to start here with Sideshow and Johnny. Guys, we came into the half at a 1-1 score. We saw Shanghai take Numbani, so coming into the control, whoever takes this is going to advance to match point. Ilios, though, you felt this was going to be in Shock's favor. It went that way. Walk me through Game 3.
Well, Architect playing the Pharah started us off, and the Shanghai Dragons like playing the Genji Tracer dive. They're forced to reply with Ado on the Pharah as well, which I'm not sure is his most comfortable role, and the Shanghai Dragons in general just seem to have to play to San Francisco Shock rather than playing their own game, I felt.
Yeah, Ilios in general, it's not really the best map for Genji dives per se. I mean, San Francisco pulls out the Pharah, you can't really play the Genji because you can't deal with Architect's Pharah. So instead, Shanghai Dragons can't really play their own game, and I feel that San Francisco Shock, as such, gets a big boon and as such wins the map.
Yeah, we saw Sinatra kind of going nuts there on Tracer, but it was the other teammates that you said were really doing some of the heavy lifting for the Shock. Who impressed you in Game 3 wearing orange?
I think it was more kind of the game plan, but if you had to put it down to anybody, I think Architect had a good performance. Yeah. He moved over to the Sombra for the second point of that, which is normally Dante's role. So I think he is starting to gel with the team, and we're seeing glimmers of the potential. We still really haven't seen him have star performances like we were hoping, but he's looking good with them.
And we've been talking about Architect as a flex DPS player, and it's starting to grow on him. We have seen the Sombra, we've seen the Genji. the Pharah, the Widowmaker. He can play all of these roles, so maybe moving forward, we will see Architect as more of a main DPS player for the team.
Let's go to game 4. It was Junkertown. This one, we knew Shanghai needed it to force a game 5. Shock doesn't allow it to happen, but boy, was this close.
Junkertown seems to lend itself to slightly erroneous results every now and then, but
That's the word.
that is the word. But for this time, it was not to be the case. The Shanghai Dragons looked okay, but I think they stuck with Fearless on Roadhog for perhaps a little too long. Yeah, and particularly when they're on defense, I would have loved them to run more dive in point B and point C. They can be pretty good for that.
Yeah, Monty made his point as well, and I get it as well, but at the same time, it's a bit hard to run that into an Orisa, Roadhog, Junkrat, and Widowmaker composition. They could have swapped to it, they could have had better results, but in hindsight, I feel like they had to play what they were the most comfortable, and if they were the most comfortable playing the D.Va and the Roadhog comp, I don't blame them for doing so.
Satch, I wanted to talk to you about Dia. The camera caught me.
Yeah.
In those highlights, he's going crazy with the Widowmaker. Is this his best hero? Where do you want to see Dia running in the future?
That's an interesting question. I think that he is really good at the Widowmaker. Also has a nasty McCree and a pretty good Tracer. Probably Widow is his best hero overall. And we actually saw him play very little of that early on with the Shanghai Dragons because Undead kind of had to fill that role because he couldn't really play all of the rest of the heroes required. So now that he's playing alongside Addo, it allows him to go over to these roles, and you can see the beginnings of structure developing in Shanghai Dragons. They definitely look better. Let's be real. They're still the worst team in the league, but they are making developments to be able to take wins off other teams when those teams slump. And for example, today with Nomi coming in, Shock looking a little bit shaky, they almost were able to take it here.
Today, we see the Shock walking away with the victory over the Dragons, and we have to crown our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. It seems to be a guy that's going to be in a lot of starting lineups now. Dante carrying his weight and then some.
And it all started with the Dragon Blades on Anubis. We saw him and Aldo going back and forth. That must have been the highest amount of Dragon Blades in a single map throughout the Overwatch League. That was ridiculous. And then we saw him continue playing on this Tracer as well. His sort of main hero, I guess we could say, prior to Stage 3. So this guy has really grown into the role. And moving forward, I really enjoy watching him and Architect team up as a duo on this San Francisco.
Let's take a look at some of his numbers. We talked about his Sombra being best in the league. Today, it was his Tracer. Pulse Bomb, 62% attached. A ridiculous number if you've been following the league.
It really is. He was getting a lot of value out of that. And just in general, nobody would have expected Dante to be one of the mainstays when Sinatra was coming in. And then they pick up Architect. But he's proving that he's carved out a niche where he is probably the best player that they can run for a lot of these different situations.
Dante helps the Shock get their second win of the stage. Coming up next, though, we still have one more match to go. When we return, guys, we got a big finish. You don't want to miss it. We got Seoul Dynasty taking on the Gladiators when we return.